area businesses already hoping to get a jump start on the potential opportunities when the NFL draft comes to Green Bay next year.
And this includes a group of diverse business owners who met today for a workshop on vendor criteria hosted by the Packers. In a First Alert update, Jason Zimmerman spoke to those who went about the impact as they begin this planning process.
As the clock ticks heading towards the NFL draft in Green Bay, area business owners of diverse backgrounds gather at Lambeau Field for a presentation by the Packers concerning vendor opportunities connected to the event. Jarrett Bush was among those who went.
I think there's a lot of information that we need to go back and research to make sure that we're going down the right path, and as well as like some opportunities, some that do work for you or some that don't. But it's vital to know that information, which ones that don't. Just so that you can go down the ones that do.
To be considered for the NFL's diverse supplier program, the business must be 51% owned by a minority, woman, LGBTQ+, veteran, or person of disability. Potential vendor opportunities range from catering and concessions to transportation and construction, just to name a few.
The NFL in Detroit had 60 businesses that were part of the suppliers of the draft. They have mentioned to us that they'd like to get that number to 100.
The vendor selected must also be the direct source of all goods and services as required for the draft. Those who went to the workshop are excited about the opportunities presented and believe the impact financially on small businesses will be huge.
As far as the draft, Life Love Incorporated is going to present them with a different way of thinking as far as apparel, with our tie-dye apparel and our characters. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm just really appreciative of the opportunity.
2 more workshops will take place next month in Milwaukee and Madison. Reporting at Lambeau Field, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.